The American experiment almost didn't happen. Right after independence, the country was broke, divided, and spiraling into chaos. And the founders wrote a blunt how-to manual to keep America from tearing itself apart: the Federalist Papers. The hangover. After the founding. Most people remember the founding as a clean origin story: brilliant documents, heroic speeches, and a nation that became America. But the years right after the Declaration and the war were not clean. They were tense, uncertain, and closer to failure than we like to admit. In the last episode, we talked about how the founding was rooted in inherited English rights and ordered liberty, not a total reset of society. That matters here, because after the war, Americans weren't trying to invent humanity from scratch. They were trying to keep a fragile experiment from collapsing. The United States in the 1780s wasn't a confident empire. It was a stressed coalition of states with competing interests and a lot of unresolved fear. The big question wasn't, can we declare liberty? The question was, can we govern ourselves without destroying it? To understand the Federalist Papers, don't start with political theory. Start with what life felt like for ordinary people. Imagine you're a soldier coming home. You survived hunger, disease, brutal winters, and battles that still wake you up at night. You return expecting peace, and instead you find bills, uncertainty, and a government that can't always keep its promises. For many veterans, pay was late, partial, or replaced with paper promises. A war fought for liberty ended with a lot of men feeling forgotten by the very system they defended. Now imagine you're a farmer. The war disrupted markets and trade. Cash is scarce. Prices jump. Your debts didn't pause for independence, and the people collecting don't care about your sacrifice. Courts become the sharp edge of government in daily life. So when people talk about politics, they aren't debating philosophy. They're debating survival. While citizens were struggling, the states were pulling in different directions. 13 states, 13 directions. States set their own rules, protect their own interests, and in many ways behave like separate countries. If you're a merchant, this feels like chaos. Cross one border and the taxes change, the regulations change, sometimes even the money changes. If you're a state leader, you might prefer it that way. You fought to protect local self-government, and you're suspicious of any distant national authority that can override your state. This is the core tension. Americans fear two threats at the same time. They fear disorder from below and tyranny from above. They fear the mob. They fear the crown. And after the war, both fears feel plausible. The Articles problem: weak on purpose, weak in practice. Under the Articles of Confederation, the national government is weak by design. It can't reliably raise revenue. It can't consistently enforce decisions. It often has to request rather than command. That weakness shows up everywhere. Debt hangs over the country. Credit is fragile. Trade disputes flare up. National action is slow and uncertain. Foreign powers notice. A divided republic invites pressure, manipulation, and testing at the edges. Independence is real, but the experiment looks vulnerable. Inside the country, frustration grows. Some blame elites, some blame the masses, some blame the states, some blame the national government for being too small to solve anything. And the big truth starts to settle in. The war didn't end politics. It intensified politics. Enter the Federalist Papers, not essays, an owner's manual. This is the environment where the Constitution is proposed, not as a utopia, but as a rescue plan for a republic that can't stay stuck in permanent instability. But writing a constitution isn't enough. You have to persuade people, state by state, that it won't become the tyranny they just fought to escape. That's what the Federalist Papers are. They are public persuasion, but they're also explanation. They're not just arguments. They're a manual. They try to answer the everyday American question: how do we build a government strong enough to function, but restrained enough to stay free? Federalist 10, the starting diagnosis. Factions are inevitable. Here's where Madison starts in Federalist 10, and it's brutally honest. In a free society, factions are inevitable. The word faction sounds academic, but you already know what it means. It means groups, alliances, tribes, and coalitions that want power and will rationalize almost anything to get it. People have different interests, different beliefs, different incentives, different ambitions. That doesn't disappear in a republic. It grows in a republic. Some people hear that and want the solution to be unity through force, silence dissent, shame disagreement, purify politics. Madison says that cure is worse than the disease, because if you remove factions by crushing them, you remove liberty by crushing it. A free society will always produce disagreement. The goal is not to eliminate conflict. The goal is to prevent conflict from becoming permanent oppression. The real danger is not that people disagree. The real danger is that a majority faction becomes a machine that uses law as a weapon, and the post-war reality makes that danger feel real. When economies wobble and anger rises, people demand quick fixes. Quick fixes often become shortcuts. Shortcuts often become power grabs. Don't erase conflict. Disperse power. Madison's solution isn't a nation without factions. It's a system where factions can't easily seize total control. He argues that a large republic can actually be safer than a small one. In smaller societies, it's easier for one faction to coordinate and dominate. In larger societies, interests multiply and coalitions shift. That doesn't erase conflict. It disperses it, forcing competition, negotiation, and compromise instead of conquest and punishment. Think of it like a fire you can't extinguish. The answer isn't pretending fire doesn't exist. The answer is building fire breaks so it can't consume the whole structure. This is not Madison saying people are evil. It's Madison saying people are people, and power magnifies whatever is already there. So part 1 is the setting and the diagnosis. A young nation under pressure divided by interests and one bad turn away from either chaos or consolidation. Federalist 10 is where the manual begins. Conflict is permanent. Factions are inevitable. So the system must be designed to prevent domination. In part 2, we'll move from the diagnosis to the engine. Federalist 51 explains the restraints, how ambition collides with ambition to stop power from consolidating. And Federalist 78 explains why the courts were meant to apply judgment, not impose will. Because the moment any branch starts treating limits as optional, the experiment doesn't just weaken, it flips. The founders didn't assume harmony. They assumed conflict and designed for it. The question was never, how do we end disagreement? The question was, how do we keep disagreement from ending the republic? For the fight for liberty never ends. It only changes hands.